client spotlight, we are catching up with Mountford Plumbing and having a look at the way they use technology, their journey with DoneSafe and with Keep It Simple Safety over the years. And we'll just have a bit of a talk about how their business works and how they've gone from being fully reliant on their paper systems to being completely paperless. So, hope you enjoy. Story was that you went basically from a paper-based everything to going to that next level where you took on ServiceMate and then DoneSafe, and now you operate completely without any of that paperwork that you had before. So it's more of a bigger journey, I guess, than just the safety part.
So do we have to tidy the office up first to get rid of some of the paper?
No, it's funny because we
look at this here, like, oh yeah, right.
Because our business is basically paperless, and our office, we have a shredder in our office. We have that much paper, so it's quite shocking, really.
I got a bin.
Yeah, we don't really. I don't understand how that happens. That I have a shredder. But we print a lot of stuff out just to review it and things like that. So.
Oh, we certainly don't go anywhere near the amount of paper we used to.
No, I remember when I first came here, and you had those big A3 sheets that had the job card on it, and then you had all your safety stuff on there, and it was like, wow. I mean, it was really organised. You were doing a good job to do all the right stuff, but a bit of a nightmare to handle. And you were pulling your hair out because you had so much stuff to do. So
yeah, so much easier now.
Yeah, so that's. I
think we've only got a couple more years, and then all the jobs it'll all be shredded. So
even finding stuff, Shane, is just so easy.
Yeah, everything's got a footprint.
You know, if I'm looking for something under this, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But because I save everything and Francene's put me onto it, and it's so easy to do, you can search for it.
Oh, and you can find it out in the field.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in the office to find it. So, I mean, obviously for Brad, the technology's no stranger to you, but
it's just utilising it, like making the application of it on site, portable wherever I am. If I've got my phone on me, the iPad on me, then I've got everything that we ever need, or I'll ever need on a job, just with me straight away. So it's like carrying around like a big booklet full of shit, but just that.
Yeah.
Francene's the queen of technology. Thinks he's the king of technology, and I'm the apprentice. So for me, the day there a few years back that we went over and done a job for Wollongong City Council at White's Gully Tip, we had to do a roof and gutter clean there, and it was all out of a cherry picker. And with council, there was 3 or 4 people of the hierarchy that came to the site, and he got on the iPad and filled in the working at heights, the mobile plant equipment, going through it, done the safe work method statement on both of them, and then went bang and emailed it to the 4 different people. And I looked at them, and their look on their face, they were astounded.
Yep.
Because they were waiting for this.
Yep.
And I think the lady was there, checked, and says, yeah, I just received it in my email. So that, I know that when they walked away, they thought, and every time we've done a job since then, there at that facility, it's been a piece of cake.
Yeah.
All through being set up,
yeah,
through yourself and DoneSafe. But it's just made things so much easier. And the other side of the coin is that, as I said, I'm the apprentice, being the oldest and the more technically challenged. It's harder for me, where the young blokes that work for us, piece of cake.
Like I was saying though, I use you as an example of you because I get it a lot from the older generation, which I'm part of now, that, you know, it's hard to use it on your phone and do stuff with because they're not used to doing it. But as soon as you saw how much difference it made, it gives you that motivation to think, okay, well, I just got to figure it out.
Yeah, I just do it.
You know,
I just do it.
That's the key part, is getting the motivation to figure out how to do it.
Once you see how helpful it is, you start to go, rightio, I've got to utilise this as much as possible, and then it goes from being like you could say where Dad is at the moment, or where he was even when he first got it, where it's a bit of a struggle to try and find everything, to now everything's so quick, you end up not cutting shortcuts as in with paperwork wise, but just knowing where you need to go on the iPad, on the phone, and it's just a couple of clicks away and you've got it right there. And then again, send an email to someone, anything like that. So Take 5, JSA, your swims, anything. We even had, we did this big job at Beacon Park, and every single visitor that come on the site had to sign in. So all they would do, rather than we'd have an area where they had to sign in or anything like that, or where they had to do the induction, they'd just come find me. I always had this folder, this blue folder, and my iPad on me, and then I could run them through an induction straight away on the spot, sign them in straight away, signature, everything, and it was all done.
Yep.
So, and that made them a lot more comfortable being on site, and then also seeing like, geez, where you've gone from, you have to be at this point here, you have to sign in here, blah, blah, blah. All you have to do is just find that one person, and the whole sort of delay of getting the job started has is gone. It's all just so easy now.
Yeah, we actually have a couple of other customers now who do that. They run, one of them's a civil company, and they literally run a paperless site. They do their inductions and everything, like you said, on digital in DoneSafe, and so it just means that they don't, A, there's no paper to lose, and B, there's no, it's a very simple, straightforward sort of process.
Yeah, but you've got a record of it, Shane.
Well,
so you can email whoever wants to know whether that induction was done by that person.
Yeah.
And
it's time and date stamped, so it's not like a piece of paper that can't be tracked.
That's right.
You know that it was done.
Or a bit of whiteout or something like that, and change a couple of numbers here and there.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. And then we do like our every 3 months or every 6 months or whatever it is, with our test tagging and our audits on ladders. The vehicle checks,
roof safety equipment, everything.
Yeah.
And we set reminders up, so even though Dad and I sort of got it penciled into our brain when we have to do a test tag, the other boys, it'll come up on the iPad or something like that, or a reminder a couple of days before, or it's due now, and even they'll be able to say like, oh, we've got to do this type of thing. So makes everyone, not only just us sort of have to try and remember it and be accountable, but everyone sort of gets not made accountable as in like any their fault or anything like that, but at least they're aware of it.
Yeah. And so what do you think, so obviously you guys have had great feedback from your customers, because you've told me several stories like that one before. Does it make, how different does it make you as a business to be, you know, not just with DoneSafe but with ServiceMate, and be able to do everything, you know, out in the field?
It's fantastic. I got a phone call on Friday from the manager of Reece Yandera. Says, Michael, Christmas is coming around. Do you want a heap of diaries? I go, mate, no. Now, you talk about paper, and you were talking about our A3s. Well, before that was an A4, which was job on the front, OH&S on the back. Then it went to A3. So then the apprentices, while they're driving home, would have a Reece diary, filling the diary of what they'd done that day. Right, so we don't need that anymore. As a matter of fact, I looked down, that bottom shelf used to be full of Reece diaries, and I chucked them. When we had a bin here, about a month ago? Got rid of the whole lot of them. Now they get on the iPad, bang, 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 bang. As soon as they pull into the workshop here, they connect to our Wi-Fi, they email it straight to us. So not only has the Francene got a diary that she can check with jobs for billing and whatever, we've got our sign-in, sign-out book here, but you can also check with the times that they've been on the jobs and what time they said they got back and whatever. It's not being a police, But it's just so much quicker,
Yeah.
so much easier.
And what they did on the job is then extracted, copy paste into the invoice.
Well, and it saves the arguments with the customers and all the other
everything.
stuff that can come out of
We can
poor
still,
record keeping.
Shane, use everything a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, as in, you try to do 15 steps at once, you're only going to remember 3 or 4 or 5. But if we can keep going, and one of the big things with ServiceMate is the logging on and logging off on the jobs. They haven't been using that aspect that much because they forget.
Yep.
But ServiceMate also, when they're driving away, reminds them to log off.
Yep.
So we've got to start using that side better, but you got to sort of crawl before you can walk, sort of
And
thing.
it's important. I was just talking to my wife the other day, actually. It's important to remember where you've come from. Sometimes you think, oh, there's so much more to do, we can do more with this and we can get better and better. But it's important, I think, to just remember, like I said, you came from all that paperwork. And I'm sure Brad would be thinking, oh my God, what am I going to take over when he takes over the business if he was still doing all the paperwork? It would be... so I think it's really important to give yourself a pat on the back for taking that jump that a lot of people don't take. I'm shocked sometimes. I've still got 2 checks this year to pay for things in the mail, like paper ones. And I sort of think to myself, oh my God, there really are people out there who are still like old school, not just old school, but and then
we killed our fax line off,
So we don't fax now.
No.
No. It's gone.
And really,
You just email.
Yeah.
Everything's email.
Yeah.
And my only biggest fear is if anything ever happens with the internet system, we're buggered.
Well, you won't be the only one.
Us and a million other people.
That's right.
I remember the days when it used to be a Friday, I'd jump my ute and I'd have a dozen invoices and drive around and drop them off to the customers.
Yeah.
The bigger commercial jobs and make sure, and 9 times out of 10 I picked up 5 or 6 other jobs while I was there. But our whole transformation, Francene's been looking for years and years and years, and then
There's never been anything there.
Reese had a night in at the Master Builders, which would have been 5 or 6 years ago, because you were with me.
Yeah, I think I might have been probably 3rd or 4th year, so not that long ago, 4 years ago.
Well, anyway, so we went in there, and I think it was Matt Jones.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about a heap of different things. And, I asked a couple of questions, and I went and seen him after it, and he said, look, you want to talk to Clinton Cowan from Tradiepad?
Yep.
So we got in contact with him, and Francene and I actually done a video link with him. And we spoke about, he asked us all the questions, we told him what he wanted to know. And then he got back to us and he said, first up, you need to go to Xero. He said, we seem to think ServiceMate would be great for you. And I'm pretty sure he said then you want to get in contact with KISS.
Well, I think you watched a conference we did, webinar with Tradiepad,
I think. Yeah.
Then we spoke after that, I think. Seems like a long time ago now.
So that whole thing of going from Reckon, which was a program, so it wasn't web based like, even though they are now and so am I and all that, but they weren't then. And going on here, and just that when I go on to ServiceMate and I get a phone call, I log that job in, bring the customer up, create a customer if it's a new customer. And I do the description exactly the same as I'd word the invoice. So that when it then goes, Francene brings it from ServiceMate straight over to Xero. She doesn't have to add anything, she doesn't have to change anything. She can do the costing and whatever and look at hours, put hours and material and so forth. And then I get it, and then I look at it and go, oh yeah, well they also done blah 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 and add to it because it's been whatever's in their diary or what they've put on ServiceMate notes. And then it gets emailed off.
Yeah.
And if there's any issues with Xero, I can attach any of the materials, I can attach any of the safe work method statements. So when it goes through, the customer can see the whole lot.
Yep.
You know, it's even got the SDSs on there and all that, if they need it. So just the technology now has just made it so much easier for us.
Well, this whole process now flows much more smoothly.
It is. And when Brad steps in and takes over, you know, fully 100%, I would expect, to be honest, at that day and age when that comes in, and it's not far down the track, a couple of years, he'll be able to do the job. He'll have the materials because we can get the materials through Max, the Reese website, who we deal with on plumbing supplies, and all our other suppliers, email, everything. He'd nearly be able to send the invoice while he's there on the job, or that afternoon,
For the clean
or if he
ones.
pulls over and sends it, emails it straight off.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some, we've got customers already who have a process similar to that. So yeah, that's very possible.
That's a very good thing for cash flow, but sometimes, you know, in working with the government jobs or
Yeah.
they want a little bit more.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
and we have.
Yeah, commercial
Sometimes
particular.
you've got to attach all sorts of things
Yeah.
to the invoice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, it gives you the flexibility. You know, you can either do things immediately. And, you know, we have customers who do, like with normal, you know, household type customers, and they'll invoice them right there on the spot. Some of them will take payment right there on the spot because that's the best way to make your cash flow, rather than sending out invoices to those kind of customers. So yeah, there's lots of technologies is a very powerful tool. So what do you? So obviously, do you guys focus mostly on commercial stuff? But is that the future as well? You're not going to go into any other areas? You don't think, or?
Yeah. Well, look, commercial maintenance is our big thing. We've just started getting into the last couple of years pool work, so we found a bit of a niche in that. But there's also compliance will be a big issue for plumbing too in nursing homes and so forth, where they've got different thermostatic mixing valves for hot water temperature control.
Yeah.
They've got to be tested every 12 months and things like that. And then with that you get flow on of other work out of those facilities. So I find that that's been a pretty good thing. You know, Strata used to be doing work for real estate agents years ago, used to be, oh, don't get caught into that, because, you know, your normal job, which might have been a $70 job, they're screwing you down to do it as a $55 job. So in the end you walk away and you've paid for your time, and that's about it. So there's no cream or ink, and it's not that you're trying to overcharge anyone. It's just that, you know, they've got landlords that they're trying to keep in well with, so they keep their business, so therefore they tended to screw the poor old tradie. So, but now I think a lot of it's become on a bit more of a level playing field, that they need good tradesmen to keep their landlord happy, instead of doing the same job half a dozen times, pay a bit extra, get it done right the first time, and they don't get the call back. So
Quality.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And we find it with, you know, different parts that we buy, the quality's not there.
And so
the easiest thing is to do the right thing.
yes,
And
sounds
that's what we're
so
trying to do, but
sounds so basic, doesn't it?
it
But-
is. Well,
But it's a good basis for a business, and that was really how we started. Was just to say, I just said, well, I just want to do the right thing, whatever that means. Sometimes that costs me money, sometimes that makes me money. But it's at least at the end of the day, you can sleep at night and you're not worried about, you know, things coming back to bite you, because they always have a way. So it's one of those lessons that you learn. So with the certification that you guys, the New South Wales government, how have you found? Obviously, it doesn't change your day-to-day processes, and obviously, it just makes life a lot easier when you're tendering and doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, with the ranking system, they go, oh yeah, okay, great, they've got them, they've got that. But in saying that, they still want additional information. They just don't want that piece of paper. They actually want to see some evidence that your system is a living, breathing entity.
Yes.
And it is.
So you've got output from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Time stamped and all that sort of thing. And that's very easy for us. That's just...
Yeah, well, you've got an abundance of evidence that flows through your system. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But that's keeping the source document too.
It's not just a package like it when it all came out years ago. You package your board and you said, yeah, I've got that, tick. You never use it.
No, it was
you don't know what it is
covering
or how it operates. Yeah, well, this is totally different.
Yeah.
So, you know, this this is not just a bonus for me, but it's a bonus for all the guys that, you know, that work here, that they can read through it and check it all out, and they know that, you know, I keep saying to them, it's law. It's not me trying to give them a hard time or make things hard, you know, awkward for them. This is safety. It's number one.
Yeah, it's often when I do toolbox talks for companies, I will say to people, you should be glad that your boss, your company you work for, takes the time and the effort and the money to do the right thing, because it's not common. No. It's not as common as people think.
Oh no, that's right.
You know, you guys would know out there in the real world, there are plenty of backyard type operators who, you know, will undercut you and not do as good a job and not follow all the rules. It's one of the biggest complaints I get, actually, is if everyone played by the same rules, life would be easy, but they don't.
Yeah. Well, see, that is more so in the domestic market.
That's right.
Yeah,
we do still get it in the commercial market. Don't worry about that. But the domestic market drives it because they want cheap. Yeah, they want cheap.
Well, and people in their own homes, they don't understand. People in your own home, they don't understand if you jump up on the roof and you've got nothing in place for your own safety. You know, they don't. It's not an issue for them.
Well, it is, but
it is
because they've engaged you, so they should have.
But in a commercial sense, it's much more of an issue.
Oh yeah.
So it's but I think it's going to change more and more over time. It's not going to stop where it is now. I think it will get to the point where, I mean, I guess my philosophy's always been, don't treat safety as some special thing you do. You just make it part of everything you do, and it's just part of your normal process. You know, it's just what we do around here.
That's right.
You want to normalise it.
That's right. It's just, it's not
make it a habit type.
Yeah, it's not a special thing we do. It's just every day. That's what we do.
Yeah,
that's how we do that process, regardless. And I think that's what you guys have done really well here. Is that it's not. You haven't added an extra layer to what you do. You've just incorporated it into the whole overall process, and that's why you've been able to do it so long and so well, and why it's no issue for you. Why you can just keep doing it, because it's not an added effort. It's just
second nature.
Second nature. That's right, and that's really the key. And then it's just making sure that whenever you bring new guys on, that it's easier for them to adapt to it, because they see everybody doing it and go, well, that's just what we have to do here.
That's right.
You know, so you bypass a lot of those issues that other companies have, where, you know, they've got 10 plumbers and half of them do a really good job and they follow all the rules, and the other half are a bit on the grey area and not quite following all the rules. So you've got to put the apprentices with the right guys and make sure, you know, and if you can, if you can avoid that problem, makes life a hell of a lot easier.
Sure.
We have some bigger customers who have those sorts of issues where, you know, you got 35, 40 plumbers, and you can't just put people anywhere. You've got to group people with the right people to make sure that everyone's doing the right thing.
That's right.
So I don't really have any other questions for you guys. Have you got anything else you want to share, or would you, if you could go back? You know, obviously technology, you guys have, over the last 5 years really, have had this journey. I guess if you could, where do you think you would be if you hadn't have decided to go down that path? other than being up to your eyeballs in paper. But
we'd be having 10 rounders every day.
Yeah.
Because
well, I probably wouldn't be
trying to find that quote or that whatever or that piece of paper. You know, a piece of paper, what you want, and if it's got 2 other pieces of paper on top of it, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Trying to find it. But
clutter up to our bloody eyeballs.
Yeah.
I hate to think, Shane. You know, I wish we would have had what we've got now 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, well, you would have been definitely on the leading edge of things then.
It would have been brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, but we've got it now, and you know, I'm really happy with it. We use it, and we plug it. The only thing we get a couple of times is we get the old ISO accredited. Oh no, we're not. But they're only small.
Yeah, it would be not worth you being ISO accredited.
No.
Not for the cost of it anyway.
No,
so,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, and we're happy the size we are. We've got I've never had any ambitions. Brad might be different to me. I've been, you know, the biggest or whatever in Wollongong, plumbing wise, but no, we've got a good sized crew and it's all going well. And because they're young, they use everything. You know, and where you've talked about a couple of things you've mentioned, I keep telling them, I don't care what anyone else does. And I'll be quite animated when I'm telling them. I don't care what they do, whether they test tag, whether they WHS, whether they whatever. I couldn't give a rat's.
Yeah.
You're supposed to. And all we're doing is what we're supposed to do. I'm not asking them to do any more. And each time they drive out of here, going to a job, I always keep saying to them, safety's number one. And even the apprentices, if they think that something is unsafe, that they can get hurt, stop. I don't care if it's the GM, the CEO, the bloody architect, engineer, ring me. Ring me straight away. Don't do anything, ring me.
Yeah.
And that's, you can't get any better than that. Oh look, I don't want the apprentices to be smart asses or anything like that. They've got to have respect, but as soon as they think that there's something with safety, they've got to let me know.
And it's good, I mean, look, that's the message everybody should give. The trouble is, there are still people out there who are not cowboys, but have that old attitude of, you know,
Sure, right.
Yeah, you know, and just don't, I've been doing it for 30 years and, you know, never had a problem, that kind of stuff. It's still out there and breathing strong.
It's ingrained.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, but hopefully, the more people that do the right thing. It's a bit like the whole Movember thing, and you know, men talking about stuff more, and you know, the more that stuff happens, the less, I think, the more that sort of stuff happens, the better safety we'll get, because people will stop trying to have the pissing contest, so to speak, and just go, you know what, that is the safest way to do it. We'll just do it the right way. You know, stop having that, you know, all of that macho stuff that people do to.
Well, it becomes sort of like two folders in. You get some people who think what they're doing is the right thing, is in like I'm getting on this bloke because he's not working safe or something, and on the other side of it, it's, oh, that guy's on a power trip, he just wants to control me or something like that. It's just trying to work in the middle of, no, he's not trying to control you or something like that, he's trying to tell you what to do the right way, and then also delivering it in a manner that makes everyone like happy, as opposed to just
comfortable with.
Yeah. And a lot of people aren't good at that, unfortunately.
That's right. It's getting over it.
Yeah. Well, and you know, not a lot of young people don't always take criticism well.
Right. Yeah.
And I we actually had an experience like that on a site recently where the young guys were going, you know, not really listening to the older guy explaining why he was doing something in a certain way, and I sort of stopped and I said, so you've done this before? Oh yeah, we've done it once before. And I said, so how many times, and I was talking to the other guy, how many times have you done this? He goes, for about 20 years. And I said, so do you think that you might have something that you can learn off him? You know, it's a bit like the reverse of the technology. You know, you've been using a phone for 15 years or whatever, and so you've just got to flip the same conversation around, you know. And I think that a lot of people don't always think of it that way, but it is exactly the same thing. You know, I even though I'm really good with technology, I still ask my kids things sometimes on the phone because they are on their phone way more than what I am. And so they do know stuff about the behind the scenes stuff that I don't. And so I have to accept that I know that, but I can hammer a nail in much better than my 14-year-old. And so it's that to and fro really about the information. We all have stuff that we can share with people.
Strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly, and I think the more people just realise that and just be able to go, you know what, I can learn something. I think that would be a nice environment to work in. But
as you say, a lot of it's got to do with attitude and
yes,
and the delivery. It can be sometimes good information can be delivered like a sledgehammer.
Yes.
And taken out of context. You know, where you listen to the words compared to the tone that it's said in.
Well,
it's a whole different ballgame.
It's actually a very common problem that bigger companies have, is that management deliver the message, but they don't deliver the feeling. And so they say safety first, do all the right things, follow all the rules, but they don't deliver it like they mean it. And then they tell you to hurry up and get that job done. And so everyone walks away thinking, well, you've said one thing, but actually I really feel like you mean something slightly different to what you've said to me.
That's right.
And so I think that's really a key thing, you know, especially even for a small business, you mean what you say when you say it, not to just give voice to those words.
No.
But yeah, there's lots of sharing. You don't find it on YouTube and things like that. So that's part of the reason why I want to do these kind of interviews, is so that people can get a feel for the hardest thing I think in business is that you feel so alone. You don't really know what anyone else does, so you don't. You think, oh, I must be the only one making these mistakes. You know, it's not really like that.
I would have thought podcast was like that.
Yeah, well, the Tradie Web Guys, they have a Facebook group called the Site Shed, and they do, and that's got a podcast, and they do. Matt has done 200 podcasts with different businesses, not just plumbers, but all kinds of businesses about how they grow their business, and they share a lot of information on there. It's a really good resource. Training.
Yeah, for
Oh my God. But yeah, there is. People do share, just not a. You've got to dig
When
it up.
we won that WHS award for the Master Plumbers here a couple of years ago, we had actually people coming up to us after the awards night when the formalities were over and asking us how we went, because when I got up and had to do a reply to accepting the award and that, I told them briefly our story from our zero and service mate and done safe and KISS and so forth, and how easy it just made everything for us to make sure that we were compliant. But it helped us in many different areas. It helped us with new customers and managing different possible case scenarios, so that no one was put at risk, because we were identifying all the risks before. And the young guys, and I said, the young guys could fill all that in quicker than I could have a beer.
Yeah.
Because they're on their phones all the time. Yeah, they're killing it.
Lani can type faster on her phone than she can on a keyboard.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. But that's, I have to turn the voice to text on, and then I can do it really quickly. But that's. In all honesty, I've cut about an hour out of this interview with Mountfords. We talked about a lot of stuff. Not all of it relevant, but we wanted to try and keep this interview to a reasonable length. So, a big thanks to Mountfords. Because they've been great in this whole process, and they were very open and helpful with all the information they put forward. So thanks to them, and I hope this video has been really helpful for other trades or other businesses in general that have watched it, because it's very helpful to see how someone else has come from one position and made the move to a completely different position, and some of the benefits and outcomes that they've had along the way. Thanks very much. We'll see you in the next video.